The night was unusually quiet for the old TV station nestled on the outskirts of the small town of Elmridge. Its boarded-up windows and rusted metal doors had long been a symbol of neglect, a relic of a bygone era when late-night shows and local broadcasts were the norm. But tonight, an inexplicable flicker of light emanated from the station's interior, a faint glow that seemed almost alive, pulsing in the darkness. Lila Carter had always been curious about the abandoned station. As a young teen obsessed with everything supernatural and mysterious, she'd often trespass at night, sneaking past fences and sneering security cameras, drawn by the stories whispered among the townsfolk. Legend had it that decades ago, some actors and crew members disappeared during the filming of a particular episode, and the station abruptly shut down. No one knew exactly what happened, only that strange things started to occur the night of the incident, lights flickering erratically, disembodied voices coming from empty rooms, shadows that moved against the light. Tonight, Lila was determined to uncover the truth. She had snuck out with her battered flashlight and a few friends' warnings unheeded. Her heart thrummed with excitement and trepidation as she approached the station's creaking main door. Using her grandfather's old crowbar, she pried it open, the rusty hinges protesting loudly. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the shadows seemed to cling to the walls like cobwebs. She made her way to the control room, the heart of the old broadcast studio. There, amid tangled cables and half-assembled equipment, stood a large, dusty console. Lila hesitated before flicking it on, half expecting it to explode into sparks. To her surprise, a faint, flickering image appeared on the old CRT monitor. It was a black and white broadcast of a show she'd never seen before. The episode was titled, The Lost Broadcast, and the footage was grainy. The opening scenes depicted a cheerful host in bright lights, but something felt off. The host's smile was too wide, his eyes darting nervously, as if he was desperately trying to hide something. The studio behind him looked distorted, shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, and the background flickered violently as if failing to stay still. Then, the camera cut to the audience. Their faces, if they could be called that, were blank, lips slack, eyes vacant. The crowd appeared motionless, yet their expressions twisted into silent screams. Lila's skin crawled. Suddenly, the broadcast flickered again, and the scene shifted. Now, the studio was deserted, empty chairs surrounding a lone figure slumped on the floor, shivering. The camera zoomed in on the figure, a young woman with hollow eyes, clutching her stomach, trembling violently. A sentence scrawled across the screen in jagged, red letters, "They never let us go." Lila's breath hitched. She felt an icy chill crawl up her spine. She instinctively pressed the rewind button, but the footage only seemed to intensify, zooming further into the woman's face. Her lips moved silently, mouth opening and closing as if trying to speak but producing no sound. From the corner of her eye, she noticed something moving behind her. Shadowy figures flickered at the edge of the room, just beyond her peripheral vision. Panic surged as she spun around, only to find the room empty. Her hands trembled. Her instinct was to run, but her curiosity anchored her in place. Fast forward again, and suddenly, the scene changed. The studio was now bathed in a sickly green hue. The host reappeared, except his face was no longer smiling, it was twisted into a grimace of agony. His eyes rolled into the back of his head, and he let out a guttural scream that didn't seem to come from his mouth but from somewhere deeper. The broadcast crackled, distortion warping the sound into a cacophony of screams and whispers. Lila's heart hammered in her chest. She reached out to turn off the monitor, but her hand froze. The screen blinked, and a new image popped up, the face of a young girl, her eyes wide with terror, staring directly at the camera. Her voice, faint but clear, rasped, "Help us." Lila stumbled back, her breath hitching. The room grew colder, the shadows lengthening and coiling towards her. Behind her, in the mirror-like glass of the monitor, she saw a faint silhouette, tall, cloaked, eyes glowing with an unnatural light. She bolted from the room, sprinting through the station's maze-like corridors. Every wall seemed to ripple like disturbed water. She could feel the oppressive presence closing in, the whispers becoming louder, more urgent. Somehow, she found herself back outside at the station entrance, panting, heart pounding fiercely. The night air was cold but sharp, cutting through her fear. She turned back towards the station, only to see the flickering lights extinguish, leaving nothing but darkness. In the silence that followed, she felt a whisper brush against her mind, a voice deep and echoing. Asterisk. We were never meant to be aired. Asterisk. The next morning, the townsfolk woke up to find the station's doors slightly ajar, the interior dark and silent. No sign of Lila or her friends. The only thing left was the old monitor, now cracked and dead, lying in the control room. It was as if the station had swallowed them whole. And the broadcast, never officially aired, remained hidden in the shadows of that cursed building, waiting for its next viewer.